was. And I was so excited at that point to be included in the community and to be given this big responsibility. And then I found out that what I had to do was go call and request donations from 110 businesses. And I called him back. I said, I'm not sure what to do. He goes, oh, there's a bunch of people that have done this in the past. Everybody will be glad to help you. Just call them up. Now, just imagine that in your Toastmasters club. There's a bunch of people in your Toastmasters club. They'll be glad to do some work. Just call them up and they'll propel your club forward. Now, I'm 23, and the people I was calling were like my high school superintendent, who were my father's age. And it was a lot of my parents' friends I was calling, trying to get them to help me with this donation request of 110 businesses. And all of them said, oh God, I did that one time. It was horrible. I didn't get any help. I'm not touching that. And I was trying to just get one or two people to help me. And they knew if they came in, they were going to get half the jobs. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, I can't call in 110 people. And so I was literally talking to my high school superintendent. And I said, would you do me a favor? Could you just do 10 businesses? That's all I want you to do is 10 businesses. And he paused for a second. He goes, yeah, I'll do 10 businesses. I said, okay, great. I went back and called all the different people I called. And I said, would you do me a favor? Could you just help me with 10 businesses? You don't get half. I'll do the rest of them. Just take 10 for me. They go, okay, I'll take 10. I assigned all 110 businesses to 11 people and was able to call that. But what I did, I broke it down into little bite-sized pieces. And that was a lesson that I've carried with me throughout the rest of my life, is that a lot of times in leadership positions, we have this big goal we're trying to hit. And we tell everybody in the group we're trying to hit this big goal. But can we assign to the individuals in the room a little bite-sized piece that they know they can do? And there's, a saying we've all heard, many hands make light work. Now, there's a basketball player named Mark Eaton who I knew through the National Speakers Association. And Mark was actually, he didn't play basketball I don't think, and even in college, but he was like 6'11" or something. And he got recruited into the Utah Jazz as a basketball player. And the Utah Jazz at that point had been losing basketball games by like 10, 15 points. And they had a huge losing season. And Mark talks about how the coach didn't say, we're going to go win a game. He said, let's see if we can lose a game by 10 points. So they focused on losing a game, not more than 10 points. And he goes, great. They lost a couple of games at 10 points. He goes, let's see if we can lose a game at 6 points. So they went out and the team was like trying not to lose more than 6. And after 6, they went, well, this is ridiculous. We don't have to do 4 and 2. We can win a game. But here's the concept I want to get across to you. He gave them what was called an attainable goal. It was something they could attain. And anytime in our life we have something that we set a goal or a target and we do, and we accomplish it, we feel great about that. But when we have a goal that's way out there and it seems to be out of reach, we start to kick in all the failure that we've accumulated in our life. And most of us in our life have accumulated a lot more failure than we have success. And the thing that I do in my Toastmasters club, and what I want you to look at in yours, is I try to work with each member and give them an attainable goal that they know that they can hit. And what happens is their morale comes up. And of course, I recognize them and we validate them for that accomplishment. But their morale comes up that they're actually accomplishing something and helping the club. And if we just sit down and speak broadly to the club, we need this many education completions, we need this many new members in, everybody sort of sits there and goes, I don't know how to get all that done. But if I go to a member and ask them, could you do between now and the end of the year, you need 4 speeches to complete a certain level, and that's going to give us this. Could you do 4 speeches between now and the end of the year? And they go, yeah, I could do 4 speeches. Great, let's put you down for 4 speeches. Now, part of this is it takes one-on-one personal communication. And we have this habit, and this is something, what I have experienced in effective leadership is I don't do broad blast communication to everybody, in my club or my businesses. I'm on 4 boards of directors with other nonprofits and things. I do personalized individual communication, and I get things done with personalized individual communication. But to send a blast out, we need this many stuff, I never get any activity done. And those types of emails, and you probably know this, you receive them. First of all, it's an email. When you receive that stuff, you have a tendency, there's nothing personal about it, to discount it. You don't go, let me see if I can fix that. Now, there's a hidden secret in Toastmasters that is the jewel to me of the Toastmasters program. And it's not stated anywhere. But this little secret is the secret that changed my life, my Toastmasters experience, more than anything else. And that is that we have all this training, we have all this speech preparation and all this leadership training and how to do effective evaluation. And we all try to learn that so we can be good. But there's a missing element, and that's the secret. And the secret is this: to have a successful Toastmasters club, to be a really good speaker, to be a good speech evaluator, to be an excellent leader, you have to be able to figure it out for yourself. I can't overstate that statement. You take all the tools Toastmasters gives us. Now, let's take those tools and let's figure it out for ourselves and how we can make this work. I didn't become a world champion speaker because I followed the Toastmasters manual exactly, and I read it really well, and I looked at every word, and I looked up every word in the dictionary, and I read that manual. I figured out how to become an effective speaker by using the tools of Toastmasters, and I figured it out by failing in Toastmasters. I always say, to me, if I was promoting Toastmasters, I would promote it as Toastmasters, a great place to fail. I've never been fired from Toastmasters. I can't say that in other areas of my life. But what has happened to us as individuals? We get socialized to a certain degree. When we're little kids, our parents, they're there, and their parents are telling us what to do. And we learn, if we do what our parents tell us, that life's a lot more pleasurable. Then we go to school, and our teachers tell us what to do. And we learn, if we sit in the seat at the right time and we only speak when we raise our hand, life's a lot more pleasurable. And if we do what the authorities, our teachers tell us, we get to succeed. Then we get to go to work, and we have a boss. And if we show up on time, we make our boss happy, life's a lot more pleasurable. Well, what happens is we are taught to sort of sit there and shut up most of the time, and we're not encouraged to figure things out for ourselves. And that is really the break we start to make when we start to go into leadership, when we start to really excel in our lives, is when we start figuring out for ourselves what we want to do and stop trying to make some authority happy. And to me, that's the crux of what the Toastmasters program is all about. It's a highly imperfect program, but that's the secret of it. What would happen in your club if you achieved President's Distinguished, or you grew your club to 40 members or something like that, and let's say you got $1 million? How hard would you work to do it? You'd be figuring out what to do. What drove my club back in the 90s is we set a target 5 years earlier that we wanted to be a top 10 club in Toastmasters. And that came about because our club wasn't doing well. And one day, 5 of us showed up, we had coffee, and we're talking, and somebody says, if we're going to do Toastmasters, let's win with Toastmasters. Let's go do something else and win with it. And I sort of coined that. And I said, I don't want to run a hospice Toastmasters club. It's hospice Toastmasters. That's where we keep the members comfortable until the club dies. And there's a lot of clubs out there that are hospice Toastmasters clubs. But then somebody else at that coffee meeting we had said, Toastmasters ranks all the clubs. Let's be a top 10 club. And we all got excited. That was our $1 million. Let's be a top 10 club. And the year before, we were number 14. Oh, we worked the tail off. But, everybody in the club wanted to accomplish that. And we created this great spirit of core. And everybody was proud and thrilled. People were demanding to get speaking slots, and we had to go to 2 meetings a week, and we had to figure out how to build our club and make it into a top 10 club in Toastmasters. When Pathways, I want to say when COVID came in, because it came in at the same time, and I sort of put them both in the same box, but I won't go down that rabbit hole right now. But when Pathways came in, I had a lot of members didn't want to do Pathways. They didn't like it. I had a couple members who were going to quit. I had other members that said, I'm just not going to speak anymore. And I had a hard time. We used to manage our club on the fact we wanted everybody to do a speaking level every year. And that was 10 speeches. Now on Pathways, the speeches were all over the place, and I was having a hard time putting handles on this thing so that we could manage the club properly. So what I did, I called each and every member. And the members that didn't want to do Pathways, I had to figure this out for myself. I said, okay, don't do Pathways. Speak out of the other manual. Just tell the VPE that you did a speech and she'll fill out your Pathways form for you. I wanted to keep the member. And what happened is on each one of those members, there were 4 of those. After about 4 speeches, they started doing the Pathways program. And then I had a management problem because I needed to manage my club and I needed to give people an attainable goal. So I created, my club's called the Renaissance Speakers. I created what's called the Competent Renaissance Speaker program. And it consists of doing 10 speeches, doing 10 speech evaluations, being a functionary 5 times during the year, and being Toastmaster, General Evaluator, and Table Topics Master once during the year. It was 28 positions, and that's half the year. And every member but one signed up for that program. And then we managed the club off to 10 speeches, 10 evaluations, you know, Toastmaster, General Evaluator, and everybody was working to get that done. And everything smoothed out, but I had to figure that out for myself. Now, you're getting ready to sit down in breakout sessions. My recommendation is look at if you're a sergeant at arms or you're a VPE, look at what you can do. Figure it out. Start thinking, what can I do to get my people through my education achievements? I would look at talking to every single individual on an individual basis and seeing where they are and how many speeches they need to do to finish their next level and work them through that. The next thing you probably need to do is you need to get some new members in. So you've got to figure out, how can I get some new members in this club? And you get a little enthusiastic, a little excited about, how can I get some new members in this club? Well, if you're meeting locally, a lot of us are meeting virtually, and we're working to get back in a hybrid situation. I think we're going to be back hybrid in about 3 weeks because we got our cameras and stuff coming in. But we'd have a party, have a wine and cheese party. And then, you know, you say, learn how to speak after drinking. That's something everybody needs to learn. But no, have like a wine. Everybody knows what wine and cheese is. Have a wine and cheese party. Play some table topics. Or here's another thing people do. You have a 4x6 card. Write down something about you that you're proud of that nobody knows, and all the cards come in, and then you play a game of who did this, and everybody guesses, and then you go stand up and talk about that for a minute, and they tell the story, and everybody's proud about it. And you get people up and speaking, and you say, that's what Toastmasters is like. You know, so what we're doing here, these things aren't in the Toastmasters manual. You got to figure them out. If it's online, maybe you invite a bunch of people and you say, we're going to show the 3 last world champions of public speaking, and we're going to evaluate their speeches or something. And it's something of interest. People would want to come and see what's going on. I don't know what it is, but you got to try different things and figure it out. But the truth of the matter is, and we all know this, nothing will happen if you do nothing. You know, I see a lot of clubs that their membership building program consists of holding hands and singing Kumbaya and visualizing new members once a month. You know, you got to actually do something to make it happen. So my keynote message for you today, to get things started, to wrap up the year, and just so you know, this is what we're doing this is what I do in my entire life. And I'm going to wrap up with one quick story that just happened about 3 weeks ago. Is to figure it out for yourself. Look at it and say, we're going to be successful. Let's win with Toastmasters. It's an easy game to win with. And what happens is when we start to exercise that figure it out for ourselves muscle, we become better at figuring things out for ourselves. The day after Christmas, I live in Los Angeles. I have a sister in Grand Junction, Colorado, and my father's in an assisted living home in Aspen, Colorado, which is where he retired. He's 93. I haven't seen him in 4 years. And I go, I really need to get out and see my dad. Need to see my sister. He sold his house. There's a bunch of stuff at my sister's house I need to pick up. So the day after Christmas, I got up early and took off and started to head to Colorado. And I got to Las Vegas to get gas, and I reached my wallet. I forgot my wallet. I had so concerned about getting everything in the car. I forgot to put any money in my pocket, and I had no wallet with me. And I had 30 miles left on my, little odometer reading how much gas is left in the car. I'm going, oh crap, man. 40 minutes later, I had $500 in my pocket and I had a full tank of gas going down the road. I had to figure out what I could do. I called 3 different people I knew in Vegas, and a guy said, I called a guy named a buddy of mine named Ed. I said, Ed, I need $500. He goes, well, look, my kids have the car. If you can come over, I'll go to the bank and give you $500. Okay, great. Then I was going up to Utah. I got north of St. George, and the transmission started to lock up on my car. And I got down to 35 miles an hour. I'm stuck out in the middle of Utah now, 30 miles from St. George, about 25 miles from Cedar City, with with a car that won't run, no driver's license, no AAA, no credit card, a couple bucks in my pocket, trying to get a tow back to St. George, no place to stay. I had to figure it out for myself. Okay, I got the car running again, got it back to St. George, called a friend of mine in my Rotary Club who happens to be with the LDS Church, and I said, he's got to know someone in St. George. His brother-in-law lived there, but he was on vacation. But his brother-in-law said, he was a friend of yours, you can stay in my house. I had a 6,000 square foot house with my own huge suite, 110-inch flat screen TV. I got to watch that night all to myself. But all that came from the ability to sit and figure it out for myself. And that's not Toastmasters, that's just life. So what's going to make your club successful is you looking at it and figuring out what you can do to make your club successful and doing that. Over to you, Maureen.